Good morning, my true crime lovelies. How are you? Happy Friday. Oh my goodness. What a week. What a week. I hope you and everyone you love are doing well. I've got a quick update for you on what's going on with Sarah's appeal. So I'm going to go over the story first, but I have a lot of receipts. I'm going to put those on the back end because I know some of you guys don't care about the receipts, and I know some of you guys come here for the receipts, but let me lay out the foundation and then we'll get into all of the receipts. Fair? Okay, so I watched The Lawyer You Know last night, and maybe he saw my video. I'm sure he doesn't know who I am, but I did become a member of his channel last week. Maybe somebody, told him about, I don't know. But I felt like he was talking to me, and suddenly Peter Chagos became the lawyer I didn't know I needed. So 3 things I learned from him. One was and I'm going to paraphrase what he's saying. I highly, highly recommend you go and watch his video. I'm going to give you my 2 cents on what he said, and then you watch his video and you'll understand at least how I interpret it, even if you don't agree, but form your own opinion. First thing I learned was the trial attorney is usually the one that files the notice of appeal. Usually, doesn't mean always, right? And so the expectation here would be that James Owens was meant to file the notice of appeal. Sorry, I think I said appeal before. The notice of appeal is what the trial lawyer does. And then the trial lawyer would then file a notice of withdrawal, because on the record, he's her attorney of record, right, in the lower court. And then our friend Josh Adams, he would file a notice of appearance. Like when Owens came on and I saw that post and I was like, oh my God, Sarah's got a lawyer. That was because Owens had filed his notice of appearance, right? And so knowing all of that, I'm going to say I think there might have been either a mistake or disconnect in Owens' office, because I've got an email, and like I said, I'm going to show you. I sent a note to Kevin Beck. I also sent one to Owens. Owens has never responded to me directly, but he's responded to me publicly, if that makes sense. Anyway, so Beck is saying that he was told over a month ago that Owens' office had filed a notice of appeal. So I have no reason to believe that they would mislead Beck, right? That Owens' office would miss. So I think there was the intention of sending it, and I'll show you in the receipts why I think there was the intention of sending it, and that did not happen. But also Owens had submitted, so there's a little bit, I think, of confusion about the indigency notice that Sarah signed. She actually signed it on December 2nd, and it was filed on December 2nd. It was filed again later, but I've looked at them and let's say there's no discernible differences. I'm an old lady, right? I'm 53. My eyes you see my glasses, right? So I could have missed it, but I'm 99% sure I didn't, right? So there was one, it's definitely signed on the 2nd because she signed it right after the sentencing, but there's one that I'm seeing on the docket that was filed on December 2nd, right? And so once that was submitted, the next thing that should have happened should have been a motion for cost, right? For those transcripts I'm going out of order. So that happened on December 2nd. Then on December 18th is when Sugar Bear's here. It's very early in the morning. If that's going to bother you, we'll catch you on the next one. Don't leave me any comments. So it is the 2nd is when she signed it. It was noted in the docket. It was dated the 2nd of December when she signed the indigency paperwork. Then Owens filed for, what was it? The judicial, hang on. He's going to try to out-talk me right now. He filed statement of judicial acts to be reviewed and motion for court reporter to transcribe designated proceedings, right? And so who's paying for that? That would be the JAC. So a motion should have been submitted to JAC, and then JAC will say, we don't contest it. You can use our email, attach it to your motion to the court, or your request. It's a motion, it's a request. A motion to the court, and then the court would give an order. So that is not on the docket. So I know what you're thinking, Tanika, well, maybe they sent it and it just hasn't been filed yet. Well, I have an email from the JAC that there's no such record that exists. That did not go through. And then if you're saying, well, Tanika, how do you know they need that? So I'm basing it on what has happened in the past on this case. For example, Patricia Cashman asked for transcripts on her way out, right? Actually, she asked for it in May. May 10th is when it was filed with the court, but it wasn't completed until after she was withdrawn from the case, which officially the judge said, you're out of here, you're free on 6/28, right, of 2024. So she filed it, and then the JAC responded. They didn't contest it, and then the judge gave an order that JAC would cover, and it was like a very specific amount of the number of pages, but it's when she had done they're not interrogations, what is the word? Depositions with Chelsea Copsall and Scott Lowen, who you'll remember are our favorite detectives from that now infamous interrogation. Not intentional. I'm a straight A student of Sarah's, right? And so they were both deposed by Cashman, and she requested permission for the transcripts, also for a transcriber. I'll show you that too. But so that didn't happen. So who is paying for these transcripts, right? And so I specifically asked the JAC, like, where's that invoice? Where's blah, blah, blah? And they're like, it doesn't exist. And I wasn't sure because of the date of when they ended the documents that they sent to me. But yeah, there was no such request. So even if there was a disconnect in Owens' office, it extended beyond just to the clerk of courts, right? It also extended over to JAC because there are pieces that are missing. I am going to call Kevin Beck later today. Not going to record it. Or anything like that, but I'm going to ask him about that and let him know. Like, he's in New Mexico, so he's in New Mexico, so it's not like he can run into the office in Orlando. Henderson is there. I've never emailed Henderson. He kind of scares me, honestly. So but anyway, I'm gonna say, like, hey, this hasn't happened, and send him the receipts too. Why do I care? I know you're asking. I feel like every citizen deserves the best of the justice system, right? And if this is a multiple mix-up, because I'm going to get to Mr. Josh, because I think there's a good reason what happened in Owens' office. I think Josh is on some bullshit. But oops. Okay, I am back. So justice is why I care. And also I do think there's an appealable issue. I know we've been joking about it in the comments that there's nothing to appeal, but I think the waiver / forfeiture of counsel through action is interesting, and also the no continuance, right? And one of the things that I hadn't realized they could do, but Peter mentioned it, is because of the lack of time, they could also add ineffective assistance of counsel. I feel like that one is always used in the appeals, in the inevitable appeals. It's always used. And so I'm usually dismissive of it, but it sounds like there actually might be grounds for it in this instance. So that also is interesting. Okay, so let's get into the receipts. I'm going to start with the note from Mr. Beck that he was kind enough to share with me. I've clipped out all of his information. YouTube is not a fan of the addresses showing, but I wanted to show the whole email, so I just redacted it. Okay, you guys can see that. So on June, oh my God, June, imagine. Oh yeah, happy first month done of 2025. January 28th, and today is the 31st that I'm recording this. So hello, Mr. Beck. I hope this email finds you well. I'm a YouTuber that covers true crime. I was looking to confirm that Sarah's appeal has been or will be filed. Now, see, I was looking for this to talk to you before I made my video for you guys, and this is, I think, before I realized Sarah had dropped her note. But anyway, because I wanted to come with more than it looks like it's not filed. Anyway, so just know I'm always searching for the facts for y'all. I'm not able to confirm that an appeal was submitted for Ms. Sarah Boone by the 18th of January. Also learned from Peter, it's from the order. So she was sentenced on the 2nd of December. So that should have been the toll, would have been January 2nd. but anyway, I'm a layperson. I couldn't find it on the 6th district website. I called and the clerk said there isn't anything there. So that is the phone call that I shared with you guys, right? So 6th district court of appeals is where her case has gone. So that clerk said it wasn't there. And then also the lower court clerk said it wasn't there in the letter that we reviewed in my last video. I will link it in the iCards so you can see that if you haven't seen it. But this should stand alone. If you don't want to see it, just there was a note from the clerk of courts that said there was no appeal filed. There was no notice of appeal filed. Where the clerk that I talked to at the 6th district, we were looking specifically for the appeal. So that hasn't been. And then I go on. I sent a note to her appellate lawyer of record, Cricket. It doesn't look like he does appeal work based on his site, but I know that is not definitive, which a good example was Peter said his dad does it, or I should say Mr. Tragos. I don't know him like that, but he said his dad does his own appeal. So it could be that it just seems weird that he doesn't advertise it. That's all I'm going to say. So, and then I said, Mr. Owens' website is down, so I'm not sure who is closing out Sarah's case. I know JAC needs accounting numbers 90 days after 12/2, right? Because remember, one of the videos we covered, she's going to owe them money for that's just a contingency. Like it says, if the defendant ends up convicted, they will reimburse, right? So it's all about due process. You will not be prohibited from having due process because you're not able to pay, but you will be held accountable and responsible should you be found guilty. So I just said, would you be willing to talk to me? I'm looking for basic info so I can target my research, which I was. Like, is there an appeal or not? Is this normal or not? Should this be alarming to anyone? Is anyone paying attention? And so he was kind enough to respond to me on Wednesday. I did not see it until last night, the 30th. I'm going to call him today. So he just says, hi, Tanika, I'm sorry for not responding sooner. I'm happy to help in any way I can. But as you can see, I'm miles away from Florida, much less Orlando. I can't speak intelligently regarding the appeal. I was told well over a month ago that the notice of appeal had been filed by James's office, but just saw an email indicating that it may not have been filed. Were I in Orlando, I'd probably drive to the courthouse to look at the clerk's records in person to see exactly what has been filed since the verdict was returned. You are welcome to call and I'll try to help, as I absolutely believe that the life sentence Sarah received was a travesty. Yours, Kevin Beck, and then obviously privileged. So this had me looking at the docket again, and I'm like, well, if they said it, I just don't think they would not tell him the truth, right? They're all on the same team. And certainly if they said they didn't, he wouldn't convey to me otherwise. I told him I'm a YouTuber. So, I mean, eventually someone would point out that that wasn't true. Do you know? Not that I'm a big giant YouTuber, but y'all have a lot of information. The emails that I get, listen, I'm not mad at any of it. So then let me look at I have it here somewhere. What was filed post conviction? Conviction was 12/2, right? So this was filed, and we went over this. There's a video on this statement of judicial acts to be reviewed and motion for court reporter to transcribe designated proceedings. So that's two things that we're going to talk about: the judicial acts to be reviewed, and then the motion for court reporter to transcribe, right? So first thing is the judicial acts. This is what I was saying. Some of these, like the appellate lawyer could take these and drop them into a notice of appearance. But now that I know Owens, because he's the defense of record, could file this also, or the normal occurrence is that that defense attorney would file it from the lower court. So in support of the aforementioned statement of judicial acts to be reviewed on appeal, the defendant, blah, blah, blah. So he went through those. I do think, like I said, don't get me wrong. I loved what Judge Koenig wrote, and I think it will stand. I think that 16-page order will stand. However, I would like it to be appealed because I'd like the appellate court to give a rubber stamp and say, hell yeah. So the next time, it becomes case law. So the next time some defendant decides to run off all of their attorneys, whether it be 4 actual attorneys or 8 attorneys. We know it was 4 because 4 of them were conflicted out. But do you know what I mean? So like I would like that. I don't know. And then the other one about the continuance. See, that one is hard for me. I say let's review it, but when you're spending time writing motions on makeup and hair and snacks, maybe your time that you did have was not well allocated. Maybe I would have rebucketed that time in another fashion. I'm not a lawyer, just a regular mom. So that is that. But dig this. I know you guys are like, why are you going on? So, let me scoot this down. YouTube is being really particular about addresses. Really, this is all you need to see at the very bottom. I hereby certify that a copy of this, what are the next 3 words, y'all? Notice of appeal has been furnished by e-service, email, blah, 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 to the Office of the State. I believe it went to the Attorney General. Yeah, Attorney General, to Miss Sarah Boone, and to, that's it, State Attorney, Attorney General, Sarah Boone. Okay, so it didn't go just to the state. It went to the office of the, well, I guess even the assistant state attorneys are at the office of the state attorney. But anyway, that's not, I get in the weeds. Notice of appeal. So somebody somewhere thinks there's a notice of appeal that's been served. Now, why, when Ashley Moody got this, the state attorney, or that's the attorney general. Sorry, I don't know who the state attorney is for. But if the attorney general, Ashley Moody, why no one in her office noticed that the notice of appeal is actually missing and it's only this statement of judicial acts? Okay. So the other thing is when he's putting the motion for the court reporter to transcribe designated proceedings, great. Who's paying for it? Now we know she's declared indigent because she's been incarcerated since February 25th of 2020. So it's the JAC. She filed the notice, and I should show you guys that just so you know what I'm talking about. Oh, time me out. We'll go really fast. But so you can just see like what's in the docket, at least the order. So you kind of get so you can pick up what I'm putting down. So let's show there we go. It's going to open in the same tab. Yes. Okay. So let's just kind of go through what I was saying. So here, can you see that? I don't know if I can make that big. Oh, I can. Look at that. Okay. 12.2. Affidavit of insolvency and indigency comments for purpose of appeal. So that is dated 12.2. Now I know there's another one, maybe it's amended, but this is when the clock starts to toll, right? 12.2. So that is there. And then there were all these other things going on. They incorrectly put her time served. It really, in my opinion, is moot. But I guess if her sentence is ever converted to something else, you need the accurate time served, right? But she's doing life at the moment. But if she gets an appeal and part of it is resentencing, or maybe she files for a resentencing request, clearly her defense team feels like it was too much. So that could happen, right? So that is why I believe they make the record accurate, just in case. And so the order appointing appellate counsel, that's our friend Josh. We looked at that. It was part of the filing for the last video, where we talked about what's the title of the updates. Where's Josh Adams or something like that. So statement of judicial acts. This is the only thing there. Post-conviction date, because I'm going to say the second, he had to walk out of there, so he wasn't filing anything that day. But then we go to 12.18, and that's when it's 12.18 statement of judicial acts to be reviewed, which is what we just looked at, where it says notice of appeal was filed. And then all of these are related to, or this specifically is related to switching her to prison to the prison system from the jail system, and that they're taking receipt. And then this is her notice that we read. So that's what's going on. Then I want to show you what I mean about when you request money from the JAC, what those requests look like. So give me 2 shakes. So this is not the request, this is the order on it. So order on motion for authorization to incur costs to obtain transcripts of statements of Sarah Boone. So that title says it all. I would expect to see that with the obtained transcripts of cited cases or something to that effect, or to obtain transcripts of specific excerpts from the trial. Do you know what I mean? Like narrowing that down and then having that. So this is how the JAC responded, and then Judge Cranick signed it. Most of the time they give the order to the judge. And so you have all the details here, right? The 24 statements are expected to be no more than, these are the specific pages she wants. So that would be there already exists a transcript at this point, right? This is to obtain the transcript. So there was a separate order for cost for having the transcriber, etc. So that is what I mean. Like there was never a request or a motion made for Judge Cranick to make an order on that motion. Okay. Okay, so we're clear on that. That part is missing. So that should have come out of Owens' office. Both the notice of appeal, the indigency we went over, and then the motion for costs for these transcripts. So even though he put in this motion for this transcript, the judge can come back and say motion granted, but then who's paying for it? Like there's no explicit, and the lawyers love language for a reason. They put in that level. It's the right amount of specificity so you know where they're pointing, but then it's also broad enough that it can be inferred into other instances or similar circumstances or used to exclude. Okay, so we've got that. Owens, there's some sort of disconnect. There's missing information. They've submitted something, but it's not enough. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be okay in the end, but there's somebody's asleep at the wheel. And heartfelt prayers and warm wishes to anybody impacted by the issue where the Black Hawk ran into the American Airlines over the Potomac. That was horrific. And if you or anyone you love is impacted, my thoughts and prayers are with you. Okay, so Josh, even if he didn't get the notice, because I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe whatever that system is, his email is outdated or his mailing address is outdated. I don't know. I can't imagine I'm the only person who's contacted him. Little old YouTuber me. I just have to think like Court TV or someone else. Hopefully they catch some of this on YouTube and they start digging in, because Lord knows they have more time and resources than I do. I just think he has to have seen it somewhere. But again, if Court TV or whatever puts it on there and says, hey, where's Josh Adams? I'm sure he'll see it loud and clear, or someone who knows him will see it loud and clear. But that notwithstanding, I've sent 2 emails. He's not responded and said bugger off, or I don't, no comment is saying something. So he would need to file the notice of appearance. He has not done that. So technically, he's not her lawyer. He's assigned, but has he accepted? Do you know what I mean? He's made no indication. He's made no acknowledgement. So I believe Cranick is going to have to step in on that. But, again, maybe another lawyer will hear this and answer our cries. And then, okay, JAC. I want to go over that with you guys. So, and you might be like, well, maybe the JAC doesn't want to talk to you. So I'm going to give you the foundation of why I've been talking to the JAC, what we've been talking about. Let me get to that email. Wow, yeah. So here we go. December 19th, they received my public records request on December 16th. I requested all the public records for Sarah Boone. There's the case. I'm requesting JAC responses to each motion for cost ledger, all of cost approved, any documentation on cost not approved, any documentation on what Boone's owes now that she has been found guilty and sentenced, any other permissible document available under a public request not listed above. So they're saying it's going to be 1,300 pages. They wanted me to pay 407, all of that there. And then I sent them a money order, and then I copied it and emailed it so they could get it to me faster, knowing that the money was coming. What is the date? On January 8th. That was the day before where Biden declared Jimmy Carter Day. So I was like, oh, I got to go now. Because I think I had until the 10th. So I was like, playing it close there, cutting it close. Okay, so that is the foundation of that. They have sent me that. I'm parsing through it, and I will share interesting details with you guys, but not all of it's going to be interesting, and some of it we've seen. I may just have to open up my Gmail. Hopefully there's no addresses. Well, don't email me at this email if it is in there. The one for YouTube is a different email. Please. So this... Oh, is it going to let me share this or not? Dang it. I will read it to you, and then, I don't know, maybe I'll post it in the... I'm trying to get out of here, so I'm trying to think of, like, what can I do without editing except removing pieces. Anyway, I'm not seeing... This is on Wednesday, January 29th, 3:43. I said, hello again, quick question. I'm not seeing where the JAC approved Ms. Boone for appellate counsel payments or the payments of the transcripts that James Owens requested in December. Are you able to tell me where in the 1,300 pages this is located? And then they responded Thursday morning. Good morning. JAC has provided all documents for all the attorneys who opened this case with JAC. JAC has no responsive records for the appellate transcript payments you are referring to. So that's what I'm saying. The motion to cover the cost has not been filed because JAC has no responsive records for the appellate transcript payments you are referring to. Okay, and then I responded, which they didn't answer this, but I just said, apologies for the confusion. I'm a layperson, so maybe I'm not using the proper language. If you indulge me, I'd like to add more context. A filing was made on 12/2 declaring defendant indigent for cost for purposes of appeal. 12/18, Judge Koenig entered into the record. Appellate attorney Josh Adams, James Owens filed a motion for the court reporter to create transcripts for designated portions of the trial. I'm looking for any records that JAC has of its involvement in these three documents attached for your reference. I just gave them what I listed off, or request evidence of supporting what I'm saying. Have any submissions been made directly to JAC for payment of the attorney's fees, the cost of the transcripts requested by the trial lawyer, or any other documents post-conviction, such as Julie Harper's invoice for the post-conviction report and testimony? My documents seem to end at October. I could be wrong as I'm still going through the 1,300 pages that were given to me as they aren't in date order and the pages aren't numbered. It's fun, which is just fun to look at. I feel like I did save this somewhere, but like I said, I'm pressed for time. So I'm just read it to you and we'll have to go with that. So let me know what you think. Is James Owens, one, is he okay? I hope he's okay. And is there some sort of disconnect? I emailed him too. Like I said, he doesn't respond. And I sent the attachment where the clerk said there's no notice of appeal has been filed. So I'm sure he's called Margaret and, wherever he is and somebody in his office can do it. So we should be seeing it on the docket. And hopefully, I just can't imagine they're not going to let her appeal, especially this case. I just don't know what the rules are or if there's any flexibility. All right, I got to get Sugar Bear to school and I got to get to the dentist. So normally I work from home on Friday, but I got some scaling to do. But thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate you all. I forgot to roll the intro, but I am going to roll the outro. Talk to you guys later. Let me know your thoughts. Toodles.